What's up, Big 12 Nation? It is Tuesday night in America. That can mean only one thing. It is time for another edition of your favorite YouTube-based Big 12 adjacent talk show. That's right. It's the one, the only, the biggest 12 with me, your host, Clint Foster. Thank you so much for making us a part of your Tuesday night. And you see the bright orange down there. You see the shirts behind me. There's one game we're going to be talking about a lot this week. That is the Cowboys and Indians, baby. It's time for this new rivalry to be born. Utah, Colorado State. Got a great guest to help me break it down. But before then, there's something that I need from you. In addition to needing some water for myself here in a second, please subscribe to the show if you haven't done it already. At Big 12 DOCFB, there it is right there. Share it with all your friends and family members. And, share it with your enemies too. We want everyone to know about this thing, okay? But subscribe, like, share, and also follow me on social media at Clint_Foster55. That is my X Twitter handle. All right. As well as at Clint Foster Comedy. That's my personal YouTube channel. I have been so behind this week, y'all. I apologize. Everyone always says, Clint, you're crazy. Why don't you like Saturday night games? I don't like Saturday night games because they threw off my whole video production schedule. All right. I still haven't made a week 3 video because Saturday night, TCU UCF put me on the back foot. My wife was off work all day Sunday, and she needed help around the house. And here we are. Now school week is back up, and I'm busy doing 300 things. But I am going to try and get a video out for y'all before we get another Saturday rolling around, the Saturday that we're about to talk about right here. So without further ado, let me welcome on. You know him from his guest on this show. He's a friend of the Biggest 12. You also know him from Locked on Oklahoma State. It is the one, the only Cody Stovall, ladies and gentlemen. Cody, thank you for coming on the show again, man.
Hey, buddy. Absolutely my pleasure. Very excited about it. You mentioned this essentially being to some degree a rivalry game, and it kind of has all of the makings of it, right? Naturally, Texas Tech maybe should be our biggest rival, but I don't know that they're going to move the needle enough over the next couple of years to draw enough eyeballs to call it a rivalry, right? And this is a new age Big 12, so these rivalries can start really, really quick. Like, I don't know who's going to be UCF's immediate rival, right? But they're going to keep getting good enough that they're going to pee in somebody's Cheerios just enough times to make it happen.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, man. So before we move into talking about Utah, Oklahoma State, and the rest of the games coming up here in week 4, if you had one big takeaway from week 3, this could be Oklahoma State related, it could be broader Big 12 related. What would you say was your biggest takeaway from last week's action?
That Kansas is extremely disappointing, and it hurts my heart and all of Big 12 country's heart to say that because, we all waited 100 years on KU to be something, and then they finally not only have a pulse, but a very strong one, and then they're peeing it down the drain right now. So, yeah, KU is very underwhelming, and it's surprising. Their offense is anemic without Andy Kotelnicki.
That you are so absolutely right about that. Well, I want to go ahead and start off with the main event here, and we'll bookend the show talking about the Utah-Oklahoma State game because I've started doing this new thing too where we get a fun little simulation going next to us. So it might happen on Saturday, okay? What are your thoughts? I mean, this is a massive game. Going to be a beautiful day out there in Stillwater. Utah's finally going to play in front of a full stadium, if you can believe it, right? They haven't done a lot of that the last several years. How do you see this one going down, Cody? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think there's a lot of storylines. I think from the legendary, iconic, Kyle Whittingham versus Mike Gundy, their numbers are pretty much identical. That's a storyline. The AARP Bowl with a 25-year-old Cam Rising against a 24-year-old Alan Bowman, who since 2020 statistically have a very even, metrics next to them. But at the end of the day, man, I think people are just, smoothing over the fact that Cam Rising was coming off of a year of no football, right? And the first 2 weeks, I would say he looked pretty good, but he was late on some routes, which maybe you could say is a little bit rusty. And then he gets hurt. And so now he's kind of rusty in the first 2 weeks. And now you're asking him to come in with a hurt finger and be excellent against Oklahoma State. Now, I know we have limitations on the back end of our defense quite a bit, but nobody's talking about the fact that Cam Rising's played 2 games in the last year and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the age factor is fascinating. You know, I saw someone posted on Twitter actually that the combined ages of Cam Rising and Alan Bowman is older. It's like 49 is their combined age. And that is older than several NFL matchups that are happening this Sunday. Crazy. And it is, I do think it's a little bit of a disadvantage that Cam Rising, there he is right there, that he hasn't played very much football here lately. And I don't think, I have said this many times, I think that Oklahoma State is the toughest place to play in the Big 12, not just from like a noise and rowdiness perspective, but that stadium is so uncomfortable. The sidelines are so shallow. It is a very difficult place to go in there and get a win. I wish for y'all's sake it was a night game.
Me too, dude. I think, you know, the TV people missed the boat on that, but the SEC, I'm sorry, ESPN has something they need to get out there. So it is what it is.
Yeah. So what do you think about y'all's ability to run the ball against Utah? Because obviously nobody's got a more experienced offensive line. I would argue best running back in the nation. Do you think Oklahoma State's going to be able to control the game in that way?
Well, thus far in 3 games into the season, we haven't been able to run the ball whatsoever.
Exactly.
Now, pass protection, we look out of this world, right? I don't understand it, but we cannot open a lane whatsoever for Ollie Gordon. And somewhat uncharacteristic of Ollie Gordon is I would say he's much more impatient than he has been at any time in the past. I think that he's getting frustrated in not having a breakout day or a breakout game or even really a breakout run. So I think he's even pressing to a high degree right now. So I don't know that we'll be able to run our way to a win, but Alan Bowman throwing the ball with this wide receiver core, I think, is the recipe for success. Because if this is an Alan Bowman versus Cam Rising matchup, then that means it's Alan Bowman's wide receivers versus Cam Rising's wide receivers. And Alan Bowman's wide receivers make Cam Rising's wide receivers look pedestrian.
I would agree with you there. I mean, you know, you mentioned Kansas, and so Kansas has kind of fallen out of the conversation, but the Big 12 feels even more wide open this year than I think any of us even anticipated going into the season. I mean, UCF looks very great. Arizona State looks good. Kansas State, of course, Oklahoma State, Utah. I mean, I still think TCU could turn it around and have a good little season. I don't know if we'll challenge for the Big 12 title. We've got to learn to run the ball first and stop the run. More on that later. But do you think that this is a preview of what we're going to see in Arlington, or how massive is this game on Saturday?
Yeah, man, it kind of has a playoff implication style of feel to it, right? The build up and everything surrounding it, I think, as it should, because the Big 12, let's face it, for as much crap as we're all going to talk towards Texas and OU, and we should, they did bring the one thing that we lose, which is eyeballs. And in the TV viewership market, eyeballs are going to be what's dictating future contracts, right? So we need as many of these eyeball games as possible. And we need this Big 12 title implication in the CFP kind of playoff feel to it, because we need these marquee games, whether they're Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Utah, Kansas State, TCU, Baylor. It doesn't matter really. I think most of us in Big 12 country are in a position where we all want to see the Big 12 do really well, except for Utah fans, which is what makes this a potential rivalry, is like they're the only ones that have come in, not Cincinnati, not UCF, not anybody, but Utah has come in from day one saying the Big 12 sucks and we're going to run it.
Yes, which is why I think the entire Big 12 nation outside of Salt Lake City is fully bleeding orange this weekend, man. I think you've got the might of every Big 12 fan behind you. And hey, you know what? I tried to get a Utah person on this show. Okay, I tried. Nobody was wanting to come on the show. Does it mean they're scared? I don't know, man. I don't know. We're gonna find out.
I will say, so if I were to put a percentage on it, right? Preseason, probably I would say 80% of Utah fans were talking all this nonsense about how they were just so much better in the Pac-12 and the Big 12 had no idea what was coming in Utah. I have seen just in the last like 48 hours, some of that tick down a little bit, right? I'm seeing a much more Utah fans talking about how great Oklahoma State fans have been. I was like, no, don't do that now. Don't do that the week of the game. You keep bringing the hate because, I think that this is one of those scenarios where a lot of the world is going to be watching this game. And it's going to be old Big 12 fans watching it, but also some potentially new Big 12 fans, because I know the Pac-12 is going to survive, right? I get it. But there's going to be some of your old school Pac-12 fans that remember the Big 8 days and remember Colorado being in the Big 8 before they came over to the Pac-12 and all of that, that I think are going to kind of feel somewhat nostalgic cheering on some of the Big 12 schools. So I don't think you're alone, man. It kind of feels like the Cowboys are the good guys.
Yeah, we're in the white hats, if you will. Right?
Yay.
Yeah. Rye guy, he's a Pac-12 former Pac-12 fan. Never understood why Utah has such a superiority complex. I think it might be a little bit of Napoleon complex, a little man syndrome, trying to overcompensate for something. Well, we're going to come back and see how College Football 25 thinks this thing is going to finish out. But do you have a score prediction for now? The line is Utah -2. How do you see this one playing out?
I was not prepared for that.
That's fine.
You know what? Here's what I'll say. I'll say 41-38 Cowboys.
Okay. I like that score. I do think it has the potential to be pointsy. I agree with you there. So one of those classic kind of Big 12-y scores. I'm kind of thinking I'm thinking like 38-35. Here you go. Ollie Gordon just scored. So maybe a little bit of that happening on Saturday, probably.
Bring it on, buddy.
Yeah. All right. We'll come back to Oklahoma State. Looking at the other Big 12 action, you were talking about Kansas. Man, here's a game of two what could have been, right? I was really high on both of these teams coming into the season. Now they're just trying to make something happen here, get rolling in the right direction. Kansas goes to West Virginia. The Mountaineers are 2.5-point favorites. I am feeling the Mountaineers in this one. Where's your head at, Cody?
I mean, I'm not going to give up on KU quite yet. This is kind of a pillow fight of disastrous proportions, though, because both had the opportunities coming into the season to be, really big and have massive seasons. And I would say KU's schedule does line up fairly favorably for them. You just had to get by teams like Illinois and UNLV, but here we are. West Virginia, I do think that the road was a little bit more complex, right? But if you would have even played better against Penn State, that changes the conversation. But then to have that happen and then to lose to Pitt, there's just, man, this is a pillow fight of ridiculous proportions. But give me KU. I don't see their offense being this anemic forever.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's certainly a world where Kansas wins. This to me is just a get right game for West Virginia. Losing to your two rivals in non-conference, that is brutal, especially losing to Pitt the way they did on the road. Here you are, though, back at home. Country Roads playing. Okay. If Kansas can't get a win at Illinois, I have a hard time thinking they can get a win in Morgantown. Right. That's just kind of where I'm at with this.
It is 11 a.m.
Well, that's true. But the
Morgantown at night,
24/7.
Morgantown at night is a loss. I don't care almost who you are.
Yeah. I mean, I think that West Virginia has the better players. I think they've got a better defense. I don't know. Just Jalen Daniels hasn't impressed me this year at all, man. And it's one of those things where, like, he frankly didn't impress me that much when he's been healthy in the past. It's all like a Mandela effect that we've created in our mind that he's like this absolute star of a quarterback. I don't know. I think the line is correct. I think West Virginia has to eke this one out, but I think West Virginia wins it. And, Neil Brown's job is secure for yet another week, much to the chagrin of everyone in the state of West Virginia. Yeah, okay. Your Dishfish says KU quarterback is lost without OC that left and went to Penn State. West Virginia wins. Yeah, I didn't even think about the coaching change. That could have been
Yeah,
playing into one of
Kotelnicki,
those.
I think we're realizing now just how innovative he was with, and that maybe that's what made Jalen Daniels look so phenomenal, is he had a coordinator that could help him cover up some of his deficiencies and highlight his athleticism while still being able to implement it into the passing game. So that's what we're
Yeah.
not seeing. Jalen's decisions in the passing department have been absolutely horrendous. Like he does look like a night and day completely different player right now.
Yeah, it's they're both searching for their way, and one of them's going to find it on Saturday. Here's another kind of intriguing one: Houston at Cincinnati, possibly Houston's last chance for a victory this season. Do they get it though? I like that Cincinnati quarterback. I like them being at home. Any thoughts on this one?
I will say that they showed some heart, right, against OU, and then kind of fell apart at a unforeseen moment. I too like Cincinnati's quarterback, but he seems more bipolar than my ex old lady. So I'm gonna go crazy here. Give me the Houston Cougs, baby. Give me the Cougs.
Hey, that Houston would love to see it. By the way, I don't know if you saw this. Houston is now renaming their stadium to Space City Houston Stadium. So if that's not a throwing down to the gauntlet for UCF as a rivalry there, I don't know what is, man.
Is that real? That's really happening?
That's what I saw because something about TDECU, the company's
So
gotten like bought up or
why
something.
is Houston trying to start a rivalry with UCF in the Big
Well,
12?
I mean,
Maybe
they've
trying
always
to carry
they
it
had a
over.
little bit
Yeah.
of a rivalry in the American,
Okay.
as I understand.
Yeah.
It's not Houston's fault that UCF claims that they invented space.
Yeah.
Mission Control was in Houston. Kennedy's "We chose to go to the moon." That was in Houston.
Wait a
They've got
second.
just
You're telling me they don't say Orlando, we have a problem when they're up there?
no, yeah, not
No?
to my knowledge.
Ah, man.
Cape Canaveral, we have a situation. Oh,
Yeah,
Oklahoma State just scored
there
again. There we
it
go.
is.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. 14-0 there on College Football 25 for the interested parties who want to know. Throw it up on the screen real quick. Okay. So yeah,
What
Houston,
a good
Cincinnati.
smart game, huh?
Yeah.
What a good
I've
smart game.
always said they always get it right on College Football 25.
You have always said that, Clint. Always.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, Houston, Cincinnati. I don't know. I would love to see Houston win this, but I think Cincinnati at home, that's a team that's also looking to build in a positive direction here for the future. I think Willie Fritz is the long-term answer at Houston. I just think he needs another year to kind of get that foundation built. I like the Bearcats at home here. Okay. This one's delicious. I'm very fascinated by this game. Arizona State has come on very strong here this year. It's sitting at 3-0, gutted out the tough win at Texas State. That was far from a guaranteed victory. GJ Kinney is a very good coach. Now they go up to Lubbock, a true road test here in the Big 12. And I think that's why the Red Raiders are a 3-point favorite here, being at home. Again, if this would have been a night game, maybe forget about it. This is going to be a tough road for Arizona State. But Texas Tech, that is a team that has been more lost than a goose in a hailstorm right now, man. They have problems on problems on problems. I kind of think the Sun Devils take this one and shock, maybe put Joey McGuire's job in jeopardy. What do you think, Cody?
I agree with you, right? You've heard me talk before. I'm a massive believer in Baron Morton, but Baron Morton, unfortunately, doesn't also play defense, and that defense can't stop anybody. Baron Morton needs as many opportunities as physically possible to outscore people. I don't know that that's going to be a possibility against Arizona State because that rushing attack should be able to control the game enough and eat up enough clock to get the W. So reluctantly, give me the Sun Devils.
Yeah, if I'm a Red Raider, I am in panic mode about this
Oh,
season.
yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
There's not a lot from the moment that ACU game went final, and Tech should have lost that game to ACU, Abilene Christian. It's just your defense has literally not improved. You have not had a competent defense at Texas Tech, and I don't even know how long.
Yeah.
It's insane, and you're just basically I look at this Texas Tech team and I'm like, how is this any different than Matt Wells? How is this any different than what
Right.
we've been dealing with in Lubbock? It's wild stuff. Wild stuff. Want to be looking for a
Yeah.
change.
And I didn't
Okay.
like the way they got rid of Matt Wells. I thought that was ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I say, isn't Joey McGuire's crowning achievement almost beating Oregon? I think his crowning achievement is taking a recruit from the University of Texas, who, by the way, is not getting used at all in any of their passing game.
Oh,
right
I
now.
know, man.
Micah Hudson.
Yeah.
So, not a lot good happening in Lubbock. Not a lot good happening in Lubbock. Okay, this is one of those games where I kind of just wish the earth would open up and swallow them both. Baylor at Colorado, a night game at Folsom Field. The Buffs are a 2-point favorite. Colorado's had their own set of problems, but I don't think Baylor has the horses to beat them. What do you think, Cody?
Baylor don't have enough horses. They don't have enough bears. They don't have enough fans. They don't have enough coaches. Yeah, I think Colorado definitely takes care of this one.
I'm kind of shocked that the line is as small as it is. I mean, I
Agreed.
really don't know where that's
Agreed.
coming from.
Well,
That doesn't
Colorado's
make any
locker
sense.
room seems to be problematic.
Sure, to say the least.
Yeah.
but yeah, I still think, I mean, even if Colorado went out there not knowing what the heck was going on, I mean, there's no way they don't cover the spread. I find that spread shocking.
Yeah.
I don't know where that number's coming from.
They could probably put Travis Hunter at quarterback and be Baylor.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe they should consider that, actually. Dishfish says prime rolls, Baylor. Yes, I agree. If Baylor wins on Saturday then against BYU, then it buys a little bit of time for Dave Aranda. Yeah, I think that's a big if, though.
Yeah, but I don't think that Dave Aranda's the problem.
No. Yeah, I would agree with you there. It's really just it's a personnel issue, right? You just need better players. Let's be honest. As much as I want to see Colorado lose, right, guy? Let me get you up there. Much as I want to see Colorado lose, I do think there will be some urgency to pull it off. Yeah, that's the other thing, because I was a little skeptical going into that Colorado State game, but I was like, here's the thing: they lost the game to Nebraska. They almost lost to North Dakota State. They're out there with something to prove, and I think that's still the case against Baylor. Okay. So one last game for us. We mentioned BYU. This game has trap game written all stinking over it. Number 13, Kansas State, after a great showing against Arizona, they look spectacular, goes into BYU for a 9:30 at night game. It's a whiteout up there. Those Mormons are going to be more fired up than if you pumped them full of chocolate milk on a Saturday night, okay? They're going to be ready for the Wildcats. It's a touchdown spread. Is Kansas State the better team? Of course they are, but BYU's defense has played well, and they're going to be fired the heck up for this game. Should Kansas State be worried?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That kick time in Provo, in the mountains, when it's cold, I mean, it being cold and everything is not going to be completely foreign to Kansas State, but it is different, and that time is scary. And you mentioned it being a whiteout. This is going to be something that they're very, very up for. But at the same time, I don't think they have quite enough in the bag to take care of K-State. So give me the Wildcats over the Blue Cougs.
Yeah, I think this is a situation where BYU absolutely covers the spread. They make Kansas State sweat. It is not comfortable for a full 60 minutes.
Yep.
And then Kansas State escapes with the victory. That's how I see this one going down.
Agreed.
But it should be entertaining to watch. There's no doubt about that. Okay. And it just occurred to me as I was looking through my list, I somehow completely forgot to put my Frogs on here. So TCU, quite possibly the last Iron Skillet game for the foreseeable future. Froggies go over to Highland Park, 4 p.m. game. We'll see if SMU has enough water bottles and running toilets this time, because Lord knows it's going to be hot in late September. We'll see if their play clock continues to work. Frogs are a 3-point favorite. Sonny Dykes was quoted as saying today, I don't know what's going to happen on Saturday. So that's always very comforting. I'll tell you what I think about this game, but impartial third-party observer, Cody, do we win this Iron Skillet one more time?
Yes, by multiple double-digit points, right? I wanted to say multiple touchdowns and maybe a little rich, but I do think that TCU proved in the UCF game that, we all have some limitations in the Big 12, right? Every team, you could critique certain things that need to be addressed and need to be fixed. But overall, that actually looked like two pretty good football teams. I don't know that I'm a firm believer in Josh Hoover, but I don't know that I'm a firm believer in Alan Bowman either, right? So at this point in time in the season, none of us really truly know. But one thing I can say is SMU doesn't belong in the Power 3. Just because they paid the money to be there doesn't mean they're ready to win. Sonny Dykes takes care of the ponies by double digits, buddy.
I love it. I agree with everything that you've said. Yes, I mean, that UCF game was capital B brutal, man. I mean, just a complete second half collapse. That first half, I ran into so many former friends and players that I used to know from when I was in college, and we were all like, we're back. This is great. This is great. We're making a run to Arlington, and then immediately, all of our dreams come crashing down. Got to learn how to close out a game. Right. And our biggest issue right now, our single biggest issue, is we cannot run the ball. The reason we were having to call three straight screen passes there, we went 3 and out before we let them score that go-ahead touchdown, is because we don't have any faith in our ability to run the ball. That's a problem. If it's me, I'm still saying go out there and do it, if it was me coaching. But it's not me coaching. So we got to learn how to close out games. We got to learn how to, when the offense is making it very obvious that they are going to run the ball, that we're going to bow up and stop them. We were missing Dominic Williams bad this last game, who's now with the Oklahoma Sooners, got that bag. So, congratulations, Dominic. But yeah, UCF, I think they're going to make a run. I still feel pretty good about TCU now that the bad feelings have gone away. And so does Zoom play here. TCU will win the Big 12. Remember, I said it. I think he's trying to say Yahweh in control. That is true. But yeah, I think we beat SMU. I've been very pleased with Josh Hoover. Josh Hoover has been dang near perfect. He's already got over 1,000 yards passing on the season. And I really, really love our wide receivers. And I like a lot about our defense that, fourth quarter notwithstanding. We rolled SMU last year at home. There's a lot more juice in this rivalry than there has been in a long time. And I think for that reason, we take care of business on Saturday.
Well, I tell you one reason maybe not to get too wrapped up. So when I watched the TCU and the UCF game, it reminded me of UCF did. That reminded me of 2012 K-State with Colin Klein. That's the way that UCF was moving the ball. Like,
what a great comparison.
It was ugly and sloppy and 2 yards at a time and so predictable, but you couldn't stop it, right? Even if you put 9 dudes in the box, which TCU did try, you still, it's hard to stop somebody that big with that many running backs and fullbacks. If everybody's falling forward, they're always going to get a yard or two.
2012 K-State is an outstanding comp. Good job, Cody. That is a dang good comp. That's why they pay you the big bucks at Locked On, man.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah. Dishfish said SMU is an AAC team in the ACC. Shouldn't be there. Yep, totally agree. I love SMU trashing in the comments. If you trash SMU in the comments, I'm definitely going to amplify you. SMU seems like the type of place where they complain about being poor while they're eating lobster. Yeah, that's not far off. And TCU, SMU, 2 teams with terrible offensive lines. Frogs have more talent. That pretty much hits the nail on the head right there. And Ragai talking about SMU's new conference is going to collapse. I've asked a couple of folks who come on the show about this. If the ACC does wind up falling apart, who do you want the most? If you got your pick of the litter, Cody, who would you go for?
Oh, if we could pick anybody and everybody, I would go with Miami as my number 1 choice. I think Clemson would be a close number 2 just because they fit in with the Big 12, honestly, in a lot of areas outside of just football. Miami, just because they're like a sleeping giant waiting to pop back up and be crazy again. Florida State, from marketability, profitability, I don't know though, because Florida State's causing a lot of problems.
Yeah, they are.
And we just got rid of Texas, which was always causing problems. So now that the
Mm-hmm.
Big 12's in a pretty good spot and a good spot moving forward, I don't know that you would want another problem child. So for that last, let's say, 4th spot, I would probably skip over Florida State and grab like a Louisville.
Wow, wow. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I think I'd rather take a Va Tech or an NC State than Louisville personally. I just feel like I feel like it's a little bit better brand, and Louisville does match the vibe of the Big 12, so I wouldn't hate having Louisville at all. But man, how funny is it though, Florida State to be raising so much cane and like starting litigation, and Ron DeSantis is involved about like this terrible conference. We're too good for this conference. And then they
Yeah.
go out there and start 0-3. I
Uh-huh.
mean, oh my gosh, y'all, man, Cody, in my pick'em league this past week, I was like, okay, like I can see a world where Memphis wins this game. Memphis is talented, but come on, Florida State's at home. They're not going to lose another game, right? They're going to right the ship at some point. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah, pretty accurate. Agrees with you. Keep Florida State far from the Big 12. I don't.
Well, thankfully for Florida State, they're about to begin conference play, so they'll have a shot to climb back in it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, they're already 0-1, are they not? I mean, didn't they play? I thought Georgia Tech and Boston College, right? Those are conference games, are they not?
Oh, I don't know. I was just trying to be cute and saying that the ACC is so trash they'll have a shot now.
I mean, yeah,
Thanks a lot.
I mean, well, you're right. You're right about that. But what a weird schedule, though.
I was just over here trying to be cute and stuff, bro.
Okay, let's check in on where Oklahoma State and Utah are at in the game. Okay.
So that should have been a pick six. What are you doing?
Yeah, folks are still winning. Okay, Utah's threatening though, man. Things are about to get interesting. Last week when I did this, Arizona and Kansas State went into overtime before Arizona won. And here we go. This game might be headed in that direction. Yeah, might be heading that direction too. Oh, but big game on a big week, man. Let's see what else we got going on. Stanford, Cal, and the ACC makes 0 sense. Well, yes, of course. Right. I mean, have you ever heard of a more Atlantic coastal team than Cal Berkeley? Right, it's about as Atlantic coastal as it gets.
Didn't they change their name to like?
Oh yeah, I think they're just going by Berkeley now.
No.
Oh.
No, the ACC just changed their name to like the Athletic. I don't know, something conference.
Did they? I don't know.
Yeah. It's
ACC
not Atlantic anymore. I know that.
So I'm seeing Autodesk Construction Cloud, Austin Community College.
That's what it is. That's what they went to. The Community Cloud. That's them. That's why they brought in SMU, because they were going to do the Community Cloud Conference.
There you go. That sounds about
right. We figured it out.
All Coast Conference.
Okay.
All Coast plus Highland Park. Plus Bush's neighborhood. Okay. Yeah. I will say this. I don't know if you caught this on the Twitterverse, but there have been so many great Cal memes going around ever since they beat Auburn. Have you seen any of these?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. I got to find this one, because there's one about like, you just lost to the woke university or something like that. Hold on. And it had like a rainbow. Whoa. Can we see if I can find it? It's going to be a little bit of a search here.
Yeah, dude, SMU is absolutely hilarious. And the fact that they're, paying all this money and forfeiting profit for 9 years to end up in a conference that might fall apart in 40 months it's too good. It's too good.
Oh, it's a total joke. It's a total joke. Oh man, I wish I could find this. This is proving too hard, but it's like they literally, like my favorite one where it's like they had just beaten Auburn, and it's like you just went woke or something like that, and it was like a rainbow going over the Cal players, and they had like Kamala Harris's head in there, and like
oh no,
their mascot, and like just all this like just really playing in, and like, the Cal players are like wearing like a communist, like USSR hats, just like really playing into all of the, the internet stereotypes. It's hilarious.
That is good.
Yeah,
Man.
I love a university's fan base that really buys into its stereotype. I think
Yeah.
that's hilarious to me. Yeah, I didn't know how Cal had fans. Yeah, me neither, honestly. Until this year,
I
because
think
whenever
all of Cal's fans came from the band.
yes,
That's where they get their carryover fans from.
Mm-hmm. I'm really wanting to see how this thing plays out here for these last 3 minutes. I mean, coming down to the wire. I'll tell you when I played it. So I actually streamed this game over the summer when I was, just looking to fill time and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the game was in the rain, and there was like a whole bunch of turnovers, and it sucked. And I ended up losing on a pick six. I was playing as Oklahoma State, obviously. But yeah, it was brutal. So I'm really hoping that. Yeah, I'm really hoping that College Football 25 gives me some redemption here and some reason to think positive thoughts going into Saturday.
Hey, I will say I'm sure we'll have plenty of conversations before then, but going to TCU later in the year has always been a game that hasn't given me the warm and fuzzies this season.
Mm-hmm.
Because it could be one of those scenarios where, we're like a 8-1 style, 9-0 style football team going into Fort Worth in a game that we should win in this stupid conference. You never know. So I will say, as a parting shot before this game is over, that I think most of Cowboy country is not super pumped to be going to Fort Worth at the end of the year.
That's interesting that you say that, because I feel the same way anytime we're going to Oklahoma State. I mean, because we've only won in Stillwater like once, I think, if my memory serves me correctly. And this is one of those games between TCU and Oklahoma State where whoever is on the road tends to lose the game unless they're just insanely better. But think about what you're describing is like versus 2015.
Yeah, I was going to say, we find fun, creative ways to poop games away in Fort Worth in the fourth quarters. Mm-hmm. So I can tell you, there's not a lead. We could be up 32-0 at half, and nobody will be sleeping easy for the third quarter. All right, we got Bowman. Run, Bowman! You're so fast.
Oh my God!
Oh man, what happened? Did he get sacked?
Going overtime.
Second and 25.
Yeah, he got sacked.
Oh, come on now.
Couldn't get rid of the ball.
He should just take off. I mean, everybody knows he runs a 4.240.
Fastest man alive. Alan Bowman.
The fastest man on the planet.
Out there in 19th grade.
Alan Crawdaddy Bowman. Oh, he's mad. He's mad. Alan's mad at somebody. 3rd and 25. You ain't got a hair on your wazoo if you don't go for this on 4th down, Gundy.
I mean, truly, with a minute left in the game.
Win in Rome.
Of course, Gundy's not allowed to be in the game. None of the coaches are in the game. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah. I can't. Oh, what is his name? His name in the game is pretty cool. I can't remember what it is. Dang it. Yeah, they gave him a phenomenal name for the game. 4th and 23. We're gonna punt.
They are punting.
Gundy would punt. Gundy would punt right now.
Yeah, this game's definitely going into overtime.
Yeah.
I always try and time these out where it's like it would be going final by the time we're finishing the show, and now 2 times these games will have gone into overtime.
But then this happens. It's all right. Maybe we'll end up with a pick 6 here. Or that, right? That was by design. That was planned. They're not moving very quick for only being 40 seconds, I will add.
That's
yes.
True.
We've got Oregon next. We've got a home and home with Oregon, and then we go to Fayetteville, Arkansas in 2027. Then we have a home and home with Bama.
How'd you feel about that Arkansas game, by the way?
I like the outcome. Mm-hmm. Everything else, like 59 minutes of it kind of sucked.
Yeah. But were you happy to be playing the game? I mean, that's one that I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like,
dude.
how is
Yeah,
that not a
and they brought a lot of excitement. I will admit, I like to talk trash on good occasions, but
sure.
the SEC does bring a little bit of a different flavor to things, man. You know what I mean? They do have a way of hyping things up to a little bit of a different level and then delivering, not just from a fan base, but on the field, right? The whole concept that the SEC schools are always bigger and they're always stronger. Well, this was a year where Oklahoma State could finally live up to those two things, but we couldn't live up to the speed. So it's like in Big 12 country, we built up a team that is as big as, actually bigger than most of your SEC teams, with all the experience, but we still don't have the same speed they do.
This is just making me mad watching this.
Yeah. Utah's just going down the field with ease.
With a minute left in the game, just marching right on down the dang field. Running the ball here. I mean, good grief. All right. Let's start closing this thing out. Cody, thank you so much for joining me
buddy.
today, man. Tell the people where they can find you, where they can follow you. I'm getting this.
Oh, well, you're going to watch this stupid. Hold on. You got to watch this field goal.
Okay. Yeah, we'll watch the field goal.
All right. There you go. You heard it here first on Clint's channel.
Did he miss it?
Clint thinks the Cowboys are going to lose. Out of Clint's mouth.
I think he missed it.
No way.
He missed it.
No. Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, he did. Oh, my.
That's so much better than I could have imagined. That was a chip shot.
What a fitting ending. Oh, my
gosh. Okay. Well, it's the second left now. Ollie Gordon's running. It's going into overtime. Jeez. Cody, yeah, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can catch me every day locked on Oklahoma State, and on social media, X, it's at All Day O State, and then on everything else, it's the opposite, O State all day. There we go. Got it. There it is, buddy.
Pro, an absolute consummate pro. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out, brother. Y'all know where to find this show. It's every Tuesday night right here on the Big 12 Voice of College Football Network. There it is, running across the bottom of the screen. Subscribe to it. Tell your friends about it. Join the conversation. You know I'm not shy about putting comments up on the screen. And follow me, please, on Twitter at Clint_Foster55 and at Clint Foster Comedy on my personal YouTube channel. A lot more content coming your way this fall. Until next week, I love y'all. I hope your team wins. And go Big 12. We'll see you around.
Thanks, buddy.